This week we'll be going over December 15th through December 21st. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm Alex. With me are Eugene and JL.
Hi, everyone.
How's it going?
Fantastic. So, we've got some stuff we want to cover before we jump into it this week. Some good news.
We got a bunch of stuff.
Some downright dirty news.
Awesome news. News that makes me feel funny in special places.
A great way to describe it. So we've been doing this now for, what are we on? 12 episodes?
This episode
number
12.
Episode 12.
So we thought maybe it was time to bring in some special guests.
That way you get to hear some other people
time.
talk instead of just us all the time.
See, it's the perfect time because the show is hitting puberty and now it's time to get other people involved.
Why did you bring puberty into this? Anyways, we're going to be talking to a couple of industry specialists, if you will, and bringing them in and kind of getting their takes on the same stuff that we talk about, just to get fresh.
Got some really good stuff lined up. We got directors, we've got actors, scream queens coming on, individuals involved in the industry. Yeah, I'm super excited about it.
Absolutely. Get some first-hand, takes on some of the famous horror movies that we all love.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Cool. And just we like to keep all you listeners up to date, kind of keep what's going on our side. So we've got a new website coming up. That should be published here very soon. It's going to be easier to use. It's going to be more kind of intuitive, and then also give you opportunities to interact with us on other platforms other than Facebook, kind of right in our backyard, which will be cool.
Oh, absolutely. All that feedback, to all of our listeners, any of the feedback that you give us, whether it's on the Facebook page or via the website, via the current website or the new one, or on Spotify or any of the places that host Week in Horror, we love that feedback because everything you give us helps us to improve. If you want to hear something else, if you don't like the way something's delivered, or if you love the way something's done, we definitely want to hear everything you have to say. So that feedback is always appreciated.
Yeah, any kind of compliments, critiques, we want to provide something that y'all want to listen to. So we definitely pay attention to our listeners and let us know what you'd like to hear.
Yes, and send questions, because if we get enough questions, we might be able to do something with those. Try to keep them like horror related.
Special guests.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We definitely want to have questions for our special guests, so we can ask them.
Yeah, and on our website we'll be able to keep everybody up to date on who's going to be on the show, when they're going to be there. So yeah, it'll be helpful for both of us. Also, we have recently affiliated with an entertainment company, Rhodes Entertainment. Their website is rhodesentertainment.net, Rhodes being RHODES. Go check them out. If you're into what we do, he's got a lot of stuff that you can check out, podcasts. They got bands on there, models, people that are kind of into the horror genre, heavy metal, cool stuff.
Yeah, they've got a nice portfolio over there of some really cool bands. Mostly it's metal.
It's a lot of
metal bands and several other podcasts that are both that are predominantly music focused. But the Rhodes, the guy who set this whole thing up with us, is a really, really cool dude, and he's really trying to expand out and get some more, do some more representation for people. And he wanted to bring us in, and he's got a really, really slick site. I have to admit that site looks really cool.
It really does.
Really easy to navigate.
Yeah, I definitely dig his what he's doing over there with those. He takes these, people that are just trying to make it and, kind of gets them out there in the world. So it's cool. Go give him a thumbs up.
Yeah, definitely go ahead, check them out. A lot of great content. They reached out to us just after listening to what we've been doing. They're like, hey, we want to bring you on board, and we've been talking with them, and communication's been really great and everything like that. So definitely go check them out.
Now, I want to bring up something very cool that we just recently started. Now, everybody in the podcast industry, they're always looking for new ways to fund their projects or to make their projects better, to increase the ability to bring better content to their listeners. And something that we did do recently, because Anchor is our primary hosting site, and they're a fantastic site. If you're listening to this, you most likely heard the Anchor ad at the top of the show. But Anchor we've recently activated listener support through Anchor. Now, what listener support is, it's just a way for our fans, the people that really, really enjoy the show, if they so desire, to support the show in little ways, and it's completely to the choice of the listener that you can choose how much that they want to support. It's basically a monthly contribution to enable us to keep the show going and to improve the show, to have things like special guests, to have things like to cover studio time, to improve our production process, or to improve our equipment. And of course, the big thing, which is what everybody loves, is to have more giveaways. More cool horror swag that we can send to our listeners, and do more giveaways, more like and share contests, and heck, just maybe just give people stuff because we fucking love giving people shit. So we've activated Anchor listener support on the Anchor site. You can check that out. It's in the description of every single video. It's a little line down at the bottom that basically tells what we're looking to do. If you feel like you would want us to continue and keep doing this, please, we would love your contribution. If not, that's absolutely cool too.
Let me hold $1.
As long as you love what we're doing.
Let me hold $1.
Huh?
Just one.
Bitch, I know you got $1.
For the cost of one cup of coffee every day, you can support your local horror podcast.
All right, chill out there, ASPCA. The super sad one.
I'll gladly give you $1 today or $1 next week for a podcast today. So, but yeah, if you really love the show and you'd like to support us, you can do it through the Anchor Listener Support Program. If not, that is absolutely cool. We just hope that you hope for any feedback that you might have, anything that you might like to see us do differently. But the option is there, and we really appreciate anybody who happens to jump on that opportunity. We love you guys. We appreciate it so
absolutely.
much.
Help us out. We'll help you out when we get rich and famous.
I remember our listeners.
How about we just pay the fucking bills first?
Anchor listener support. We'll keep the lights on for you.
Thank you.
Don't be like Nick Cage and it could happen to you on this motherfucker. Some dude's gonna have like 50% of the podcast. Like, who are you? It's like, oh well, Alex told me.
Oh yeah, and then
just don't come to my house.
Yeah. But yes, Eugene, you jumped on something.
Yeah, so actually, I checked out a series that came out recently on Crypt TV. Segue.
Wrong show.
So I recently I checked out a show that came on Crypt TV called The Birch. It's a little mini series that came out just like a couple of weeks ago, and it was based off of a little short that came out that I posted on YouTube that was funded by Crypt TV about a killer tree that likes to protect people. And so
what? No.
Oh no.
But I've seen some clips on this on YouTube. I've seen some YouTube some ads that have run. Because I look at a lot of YouTube creator content, and I've seen some ads run for this. And given the premise, it may sound silly to some people, but this thing looks creepy as shit.
It is really creepy. The effects were done really well, and one thing about it is like it has great characterization. Like to the point where even like your standard bully, high school bully kind of thing, they even have a lot of internal conflict. And they're not just like, oh, we're going to be the bully and then the tree kills us, everything. Like, no, they actually have like great characterization. Like all the characters were well thought out. It has some great shocking moments. People you root for, you have the people you hate, and the story really keeps you on your edge. And it has two really great twists at the very end, which I'm not going to spoil, here, but it's definitely a show to check out.
It's interesting because from the trailers I saw, from the stuff that I saw about the show, I got a real Slender Man vibe from the show, because there was that I think it released last year or earlier this year. It's kind of a snooze fest, but it was the movie Slender Man, and it was just, I thought it was going to be interesting. I was like, oh, it's based on a creepypasta like this. And then I was watching it. It was like, well, they had something decent here, but God, this is so, it's just, it was just like, okay, so this is going to happen. This is going to happen. It was really boring. And but it was the same kind of like creepy little vibe, like the creepy vibe of what was happening, and where it's kind of the uncertainty around it like that. So I got that kind of same sense. So I'm wondering, from what you said, it sounds like they capitalized on that, where a film like the Slender Man did not capitalize.
Yeah, because I saw some of the the little shorts and stuff like that about the Slender Man, and I was like, it was really creepy, and I was really looking forward to the movie, and then the movie just kind of, it was just boring.
Yeah, it just petered out.
It was just kind of, it ignored all the stuff that made Slender Man great to begin with. And
I'm a creepy guy in the woods. Spaghetti arms.
Yeah. But this is it's actually something that it builds on some great characterization. It has some great moments of suspense. You don't really see the Birch very often in the very beginning, kind of thing. And the characters are interesting enough that when the Birch isn't there, that it still holds your attention.
Interesting. Very cool.
So how big is this
definitely
birch?
Something to check out. I highly recommend it.
How big is the birch?
It's really big.
Like just like a soup. I mean,
she's about 15, 20 feet tall.
Damn, that's a big birch.
Yeah, yeah, it's really big.
I cannot believe you set that joke up.
Thanks for playing.
That's a huge birch. That's a huge birch. As Samuel Jackson would say, it's an evil fucking tree.
Well, now I gotta go watch a movie about a tree.
But not the Marky Mark one.
Yeah, not
the trees are turning against us. Bro. Can you feel it? Feel it.
Look at that killer wind chase us.
Man, these allergies are killing me. Ba-doom.
That should be a horror movie right there. Like killer allergies. Like people just start like sneezing and stuff.
The pollen. Happening too. The happening. The pollening.
We found a cure. Allergy medicine.
So yeah, for all of our listeners, we got a lot of really, really cool stuff coming up. Like you said, special guests. We got a new website. We have the ability for you guys to contribute. Check out our new affiliation, roadsentertainment.net. And what?
Oh, you're good.
Who are you talking to?
What?
You yelled, "Hey!"
Yeah, that was a mix-up.
Hi?
Were you yelling at somebody?
No, I muted my mic and my dog was howling. Except it's going to be really messed up because I've got my phone playing the audio.
He's like, "Hey, shut up, you motherfucker."
With your anchor support, we can afford a studio.
Oh, man. Good times.
So, yes, but a lot of really, really cool stuff coming up. And and we'll have even more news as we progress along those routes. So a lot of really cool stuff, and it's all thanks to you guys for listening.
And thank you so much. And I think it's time to get this thing started.
Let's jump in. Where are we starting?
All right. So the very first movie we are talking about today came out December 16th, 1983. Right. It was
Woohoo! I was 3 years old.
1 year before I was born.
We'll get to the dinosaur movie later.
Got him.
All right. And see, we have this directed by the legendary Michael Mann. Right.
He's the man.
Written also by Michael Mann.
Directed, produced,
starring
edited.
Scott Glenn.
Starring.
Edited by Michael Mann. Produced, starring, music by Michael Mann. Also starring Scott Glenn, Alberta Watson, right? And Ian McKellen, the legend himself.
I'm sorry, it's Sir Ian Murray McKellen to you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sir Ian McKellen.
Sir Ian
Sir
McKellen.
Ian McKellen. We have the movie The Keep.
Oh, I fucking love this movie.
It's a nice. It's almost kind of like a fantasy feel kind of horror.
It's definitely outside the realm of what Michael Mann usually does today.
It really is. Michael Mann, he does a lot of like Heat and Collateral and some of his like action films, and going back to some of his earlier work being like a horror, takes place on a castle. It has a lot of like supernatural elements to it. Like it's interesting. Kind of wish he did a couple more stuff in this territory.
What, with Nazis?
I can
you're secretly hinting towards the Nazi aspect of this movie.
The film is so, guys. I always felt that was the beautiful thing about Michael Mann, because my favorite of all of his films is Collateral, and just the way he shoots things, just the way he captures characterization in just quiet moments is just brilliant. And of course, I mean, come on, Heat, the diner scene, the fucking shootout. If I had an action podcast, I'd be talking about shit like that. But Michael Mann is a brilliant director and visionary in that respect. But he went into the field that we love talking about. He went into fantasy horror, and as an early effort, you could tell he's definitely it was raw. It was very green. I would actually say this film was a passionate film, that he wanted it bad, and you could tell that everybody involved was really into this movie. But as things are, came out in 1983, some things have not been, time has not really been kind to it that much, but it really is a fantastic story. But ultimately, it's a very polarizing film, because even Michael Mann has kind of disavowed it, although he's gone back in interviews and said that he really does enjoy some aspects of the film and some of the work that he did and some of the writing, but he's kind of disowned it. He's stepped away from it. He doesn't like really talking about it that much, which is a shame, because I'm one of the few that love this movie, because you either love this movie or you fucking hate it. And I adored The Keep. I thought it was creepy. I thought it was smart. It was a very heady film. A very cerebral film. It was a horror film that made people think, and I think that's what people. And even though there's a big ass fucking demon in it towards the end, but and I thought that costuming at the time was fantastic. That thing was just so. It just looked good to me. It was scary too, but I don't think people want to watch a horror film. And, as you're leading up to the big climax where we have to sit here and fucking think and be philosophical about the state of what's going on, the things that are going on around them at the time. And I don't think people really dug into that. It didn't do well when it hit the box office, but it has become a cult film. I mean, that shit, this thing is, this thing's got a board game after it. It's got an RPG after it. And still it gets played around horror festivals. So it's a popular one, but you fall on either side.
Yeah, with smart films, it can be really hit or miss, because like I love movies that are smart. I love movies that are philosophical, that really make you think. But I know a lot of people out there don't. Kind of thing, I can understand going to see a film because you want to escape or something like that, but a lot of people's like, well, I don't want to reflect on life or philosophy or something like that. I just want to watch a movie. So a lot of smart films, a lot of philosophical films, really don't do well sometimes.
No, did you know this movie was 210 minutes long?
Oh, it's well,
the original cut was 210 minutes long, and then they cut it down to 96 minutes against Mann's wishes, and then they because like you said, it didn't do well, they cut it down, and so then it didn't do well again. It ended up being better as the 210 minute version.
I think it was not only a cerebral film, but the concept of the film being that, kind of like evil projects and that evil draws evil is the whole thing. Is, man was going, evil, is drawn to itself, and it collates and coalesces into places. And the concept of the film being, that this group of Nazis are, being drawn to this castle where they basically set up shop in this castle, and the castle winds up being on top of this gateway to like hell or something like this. I don't want to spoil too much about it because it, like I said, the rabbit dives deep in this. But when you have Nazis in a situation where they are not the immediate,
they're not
bad
the worst
guys.
person in the room. There's something wrong.
They're not the worst thing in the room. They're not the worst thing in the fucking movie, and they're not protagonists per se, but they're not actively going out like being fucking Nazis and shit. They are soldiers. They're just soldiers for the Reich, and that's a very, very complex situation to be in when you have a situation like that. And it's like, okay, you don't want to root for them. You find out, and you look at them, that man captured that these were people that, regardless of where they stood in the war, they're still human beings. And these guys were, I mean, it's not like Mengele, it's not like Hitler, it's not like, Goebbels or anything like that, but, or Goebbels, like, what this is that these were soldiers. Exactly. These were soldiers who were basically, they were in the service, and this is where the military went, and, just like our soldiers, they're just soldiers in the military, and they go where their orders tell them to go. And they have their orders, they do their thing. So this was a really polarizing look at, the humanization of bad guys, because we want to demonize Nazis all day long, but we can't. But man doesn't let us forget that they were human too. Some of these guys were literally just soldiers, and they just went where their orders told them to do, just like our soldiers, just like American soldiers do that. And so it humanizes them, and then puts them in a situation where it's like, holy shit, we wouldn't wish this kind of crap on our worst enemy. But then, and then all of a sudden you say, oh, I want the guys to win because they're not really that bad guys, but they're fucking Nazis.
Damn fucking Nazis.
So, you definitely don't want to be sympathetic for Nazis. So, yeah, I can understand why it's a ballsy fucking movie.
Yeah, well.
It really is, because, these are guys that, a lot of them, you're talking about the common soldier, right? A lot of them, they're just doing a job.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's what you're doing. Go to work, get shot at, go home.
Yeah, like that. That's it. I'm defending my homeland.
You're doing what you were told. Welcome to the way
exactly.
things work. Well, and then you said Scott Glenn was in this movie. He.
Oh yeah.
As far as I can remember, I think I've seen him in Silence of the Lambs, Silverado. Did Silverado come out before this one? No, this Silverado came out after this one. And then you got a lot of actors in here that went on to do some pretty awesome movies. Robert Prosky's in this one. He's in like Christine. We just talked about that last week.
That was last episode.
Yeah. And Miss Doubtfire.
My man Gabriel Byrne.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. He's like a super. See, these guys, they played these roles in this movie. That was the best part I think about this movie to me, was like the acting was pretty awesome. The cast that they had in this, they could put all these people together in one place back like when most of them first had just started their careers, went on to do a lot of pretty awesome things.
Yeah, you can always tell when you do a good job casting where everybody goes on to big stuff, not just one or two people, or you have like one main character or something like that, but it's like everybody went on to do big stuff. And Michael Mann happened to get them all together as they were starting off. It's a lot of talent,
incredible level of talent. Did you know that character actor Bruce Payne had a small role in that as a board guard? So even his minor roles went to people. I mean, and Bruce Payne has gone on to have an incredible career. So all of these people that he managed to snag, he's just got an eye for talent. I mean, even then, I mean, just working, or I guess an eye for, what it was is an eye for chemistry. People that work well together, people that read well together, because these charismatic actors, Gabriel Byrne, Jurgen Prochnow, Scott Glenn, Sir Ian McKellen,
definitely,
all these cats, and they all work extremely well with their respective actors. They have excellent reputations for being able to develop bonds between their co-stars, and so that's why I believe he struck gold. I'm not one of the haters on The Keep. I wish
I could see the 210-minute version now, because
Like the director's cut
it's
of
Mann's original cut of it, but they I don't even know who put this one out, but they cut it down to 96 minutes. I want to see the 210-minute cut.
Yeah, there was like some crazy shit, and it was like they went
Paramount
over budget.
just did it
like,
behind his back, though.
Paramount, well, and they refused to pay for additional filming, and so because they just cut off his funding, he had to put together the simplified ending that we got. But the 210-minute cut, which I think had a more positive ending.
That's what it looks like.
Than the one that we got. But I don't know if we're ever going to get a release of that. I don't think Mann's ever said, or Paramount's ever said, whether there's going to be a director's cut on that. I'm not sure.
I mean, they really should now with the market. just pop it up on streaming somewhere.
Yeah, right, exactly. Throw it on Netflix.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not even out on DVD or Blu-ray ever. I mean, that you can view it on YouTube or Amazon Video or like this, and I think it's on Netflix as well. But I don't know. It just may be one of those ones where the director's cut is kind of lost. Is kind of lost to history.
Hate it when that happens.
Oh man, I bet that cut's really good too.
Oh, I'm willing to bet. 3.5 hours of those actors and Michael Mann. Yeah, I'll watch that anytime.
Absolutely. So, let us know in the comment section below. What is your favorite Michael Mann film? Is it The Keep? Is it some of the others that we talked about, like Heat or Collateral, or some of the other work that he's done? Let us know in the comment section below.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to December 17th, 1996, when the third installment of an incredible franchise was released. We're talking, of course,
it's amazing.
Carnosaur 3, Primal Species.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, man.
Oh, I fucking love this series.
So, this series of film, probably one of the... If you're into stupid, if you hate Sharknado but like really stupid movies, this is, check it out. We're talking puppet dinosaurs creeping up behind people and tearing their arms off, which is just fantastic.
We're talking, it's so brilliant, man.
Dude,
it is so fucking, it's so
here's
gory.
$500, see what you can do. Yeah, this one's got Scott Valentine. Janet Gunn, Rick Dean, Anthony Peck, a lot of names that you're not going to hear ever again. Great film, though.
Hey, man, this was their shot, man.
Dude, and
this
they
was
took
their
the shot.
and they fucking
went
took
for it, man.
They took it.
They swung on it.
But there was, 5 films in this? Was it 5?
I think they're up to. I think they're up to 5. Yeah, and I think the fifth one. Was like a straight to sci-fi release.
Okay. Straight up like sci-fi After Dark or whatever.
Just went straight sci-fi channel.
That sounds like something sci-fi would pick up too. They're like, wait, there's 4 other Carnosaurs?
And I don't even think they called it Carnosaur. I think they called it like Raptor or some shit.
They're like, we got to try something out, man. On the thinking back on it, I was like this movie, and then I was like, oh yeah, that one scene where the dude was walking down like the hallway, and the raptor was like walking up behind him. The dude with the long hair, the curly hair, he's like walking up behind him. I was like, I think that's when I first saw it for the first time. I think that was the scene that I like caught it on. I was like, what is going on here?
Dude,
I have so many questions.
Wait, is that a puppet?
It was that dude's face. It was that dude's fucking face, man.
My God,
it's so intense.
Oh, that's great, though. And this one, and so like the whole movie, when the movie starts out and the terrorists, like, they're trying to attack the convoy, and then they accidentally steal velociraptors that are frozen instead of like the uranium that they were trying to like take over.
This is not uranium.
Man, something smells kind of funny. Check the back. Hey man, there's like 2 velociraptors back here, and what do you want me to do with them?
It's like the fucking terrorist leaders. What the fuck am I supposed to do with red velociraptors?
They escape,
what
kill everybody.
I paid for uranium, not velociraptors.
What is going on in this movie? And then like one person lives.
They kill them fucking
Oh, dude,
bad.
they killed everybody.
Oh yeah.
It is so gnarly.
Oh yeah. Which see, it kind of makes you think, like, in terms of how do you do like a good dinosaur like horror movie kind of thing, because like I said, most of the ones I've seen, obviously they have to be kind of sci-fi based, because first of all you have to explain, like, fucking dinosaurs.
Extra fucking dinosaur in this room.
Yeah, you have to be able to explain it though. But it's like, what is the best way to implement a dinosaur in a horror movie kind of thing?
What kind of killer is scary when it weighs a quarter of a ton and is stomping around after you?
It's not so much like a jump scare, kind of like a psychological scare. It's kind of like, there's no way I'm gonna survive if that thing comes any closer scare.
Like, if I just stay out of like jumping distance, then I'll be fine. But even like, so you take like, some of the effects of it. This movie came out a couple years after Jurassic Park kind of thing, and the effects are interesting. You think the effects would get better?
Well, okay, they were better compared to like Carnosaur, compared to like the first one. I mean, they it's a different line. You can't compare like Jurassic Park's improvement in effects, and Carnosaur's improvement in effects.
Let's see, which one made hundreds of millions of dollars?
That's not even the same scale, man. That's like that's just unfair,
Oh,
It's a subject that's not brought up very much. It's like the horror dinosaur, because it's like you have like the carnival, you have the Carnosaur series. There's another really bad low budget film called Future War that came out around 95 that has dinosaurs coming from outer space kind of thing.
Spaceosaurus Rex, bitch.
Spaces. It's great. It looks like a hand puppet as it kills homeless people.
Oh my God. No, Mr. Bill. It's some fucking Howdy Doody shit. Oh no.
Oh, it's awesome. It is. It's really awesome.
Oh fuck! It pulls like the Cookie Monster deal where it's chewing on somebody's arm and it just kind of like falls out of their arm and it's like, oh yeah. Oh, but I always thought the effects in the Carnosaur series were so brutal and so just, they know how bad the film is. They know how bad the dinosaurs are. So you got to up the gore factor in order to keep people interested. So when people are getting their fucking limbs ripped off or their heads ripped off or bitten in half or something like that, people are getting like eviscerated and shit and getting disemboweled, and it's people don't normally have this much blood in them in reality. and it looks like their limbs, like the human body is attached via like fucking rubber
like
bands
rubber hoses.
and like rubber hoses and ramen. So it's like, what is all this? That's not natural. But man, these people die so fucking hard, and it is super fucking entertaining to watch. You don't watch for any seriousness, and I always found it interesting because we were talking about special effects. Special effects aren't good. The acting is fucking terrible. It's only entertaining to watch people die super violent deaths to really silly dinosaur puppets. Especially in Carnosaur 3.
It's almost like a Grindhouse type deal.
Yeah.
So, it very much so. But you got to wonder, a film like this, it's definitely in the violent exploitation era. It's definitely an exploitation film. Super, super high violence, super, super high gore. But typically, movies like this where they have a common theme, they act like a remora on a bigger franchise. And so I've always wondered, the first Carnosaur came out May of 1993, right? Mm-hmm. And 1 month later, Jurassic Park dropped, the first Jurassic Park. So these two movies, a horror dino movie and the epic like the epic Steven Spielberg film dropped. 1 month in between of them. And so dinosaurs are on people's minds. Yeah. It was like Jurassic Park, and I went and saw Jurassic Park. I still get the chills when I see that Brachiosaurus the first time. And
I think today, now that we've gone so far in technology, I think maybe we should go back and try again. I think we should see some dinosaur horror movies. Make it actually a dinosaur horror movie. Maybe demon dinos.
I think this would work in the early 90s and the 80s, but I don't know if it would work today because now we've had so much Jurassic Park. Dinosaurs are big. Dinosaurs are loud. Dinosaurs are not really stealthy, unless you fucking genetically engineer them and give them invisibility and shit. Of what the fuck was that noise? I'm not 100% sure. But, we've kind of accepted dinosaurs. You're not going to get, dinosaurs, sneaking up on you like Michael Myers.
Throw them on a hoverboard, bro.
So, but I was wondering, would we have Carnosaur? Would Carnosaur be the kind of cult franchise, the cult hit franchise that it is amongst horror circles, if it were not for Jurassic Park, for it to kind of remora off of? And say, horror fans, they go and they watch Jurassic Park. And they're like, this is fucking amazing. And, the T-Rex eats some dude. And, the raptors are tearing people apart. And now we can go watch Carnosaur and we can see all the shit that Steven Spielberg refused to show us.
Here's this. And then somebody took it and ran.
Yeah, exactly. And see, it was such a little window that you had all of the, the dinosaur horror in the early 90s that came out. Because then once Jurassic Park series went downhill, the rest of them went downhill, and now when it comes to creature horror, it's come back in a really bad fashion as a sci-fi channel. With the Sharknadoes, and of course, so they have their bad CG dinosaurs that looks like it was made on After Effects or something like
they
that.
Keep trying. I think that's a good question for our audience, though. What do you guys think? Do you think we could do dinosaurs and horror ever again, or is that just done?
Is it Sci-Fi Channel fodder now?
Yeah,
it
might be. I don't know.
Is it Mega Shark versus Robo Octopus versus Piranaconda versus Splatter Dino?
Don't even have people in the film anymore. It's just them fighting.
Just no people.
Just fucking CGI monsters in space. Puppets. In space. It's gotta be in space. Yes. with a post credit Sharknado.
I like it.
It's a bonus scene. I don't want to see this.
No one asked for it. You're getting it anyway.
A 2.5 hour bonus scene of Sharknado 63.
So why am I sitting through these credits?
Starring Tara Reid.
Somebody kill me.
Curse my masochism.
And then you get eaten by a shark.
But yeah. But if we do a fucking puppet movie, we're doing Thanksgiving versus Ginger Dead Man. I'm gonna push that shit until the day I get to fucking do it. I'm gonna direct it, or I'm gonna fucking star.
I'm coming back as a fucking ghost, and I'm gonna make it happen.
I want fucking Turkey. I want to be one of Turkey's victims. That shit would be funny as fuck.
If we get enough anchor donations and listen, we'll make it happen.
Yes, we'll make this happen. All right. Well, we're jumping into the next one. This one is a kind of a special one. Released December 19th, 2006. It's a film called Altered. And I particularly enjoyed this movie. It didn't get a lot of media when it first came out, but things going for it is this one was directed by Eduardo Sanchez. And if you know that name, you know that he was the co-director of the Blair Witch Project back in 1999.
Which, in my opinion, was a fantastic
highest grossing
film.
Oh, yes. Fuck, dude, that movie was a shit. And, highest grossing independent film of all time. This was Eduardo's first solo feature. So he helped to write the project, or he helped to write to develop the story. His story partner, Jamie Nash, wrote the screenplay, and Eduardo took this on. And it basically, it's kind of a low, no-name cast. It's got Paul Boyington, Adam Kaufman, Michael Williams, James Gammon. But one of my favorites, it has Brad William Henke in it. And he's pretty much the only one in this, I would say, in this cast who's really gone on to bigger things. He was Piscatella in Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Big, huge dude. Yeah. The cat's like 6'4". He's like 290. He's a former NFL football player, and he turned into an actor. He's actually rather good. He's actually pretty good. So, as we've seen in Orange is the New Black. He actually is. Yeah, impressive at it. But yes, the film basically revolves around, it's an alien story, and the film revolves around 4 redneck friends who 7 years previously were kidnapped, were abducted by aliens, experimented on, and then dumped back on Earth. And of course, nobody believes it. And then there were actually 5 of them, and then one of them died during the process of the abduction. And then when they returned, they go back to town. Nobody believes them. They get laughed out of town. Everyone thinks they're a bunch of crackpots, and their lives kind of disintegrate from there. Well, one night, a group of the friends go out to the area where they were abducted, and they manage to capture one of these aliens. And that's going to be their proof to clear their names and expose this whole thing. And of course, they drag it back to kind of chain it up and decide what they're going to do, specifically what their plan is, and that's when things go to fucking shit. As they always do in alien films. Yes. So, but the film is actually surprisingly really good. Eduardo learned whatever he learned off of Blair Witch Project, as far as handling his actors, setting up a scene. Everything was solid across the board. Not a perfect film by any stretch of the imagination, and the majority I can tell of the budget went towards our alien friend, who is a particularly nasty little shit. It was done well.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It was.
So it had some very, very impressive moments in it, and some kind of get you moments. But well done. I mean, Eduardo Sanchez, he's still out there. He directs. I think he's had a few films after this, but not bad for a freshman outing.
Too bad. Did you ever see The Curse of the Blair Witch?
Was that the
second one that came out?
No, the second one was...
There was another one, too. It was called Sticks and Stones. That was another one that he did that year. But they're like little short films that go along with the movie. They're just kind of like backstories and
Oh, yeah, I saw one.
One of them came out. It was I can't remember if it was on VHS. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was I think it was like either two VHS set, or it was after the credits. Yeah, it was like a little 15, 20 minute like a fake documentary thing that is supposed to make the story even more scary.
I remember seeing it on the internet later in life because I was 9 when this came out. When the Blair Witch Project came out.
Well, I know that they've released a bunch of
books.
Oh
yeah, dude.
The Blair Witch. There's the Blair Witch Files, and then of course, I know it's going to get I know that Lionsgate is behind under their new subsidiary Studio L, that they're producing a series, like a television series.
Oh, that could be interesting.
But this studio specializes in digital releasing, so I'm thinking it's going to be for Netflix or Hulu or one of the services, and that will be an actual series that we can get off of that. But obviously the online marketing, the marketing for this was insane.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
We're just getting into being able to use the internet like that.
Yeah, because the reason why the Blair Witch Project was so successful was its marketing campaign kind of thing, because it was marketed as this is a real thing that happened, and then the entire style and the found footage, people believed it was real kind of thing.
It got me. It sold me on it.
It sold me too.
I'm still afraid of the woods because of that. Bastard. That guy was good though, Eduardo Sanchez, man.
And I'm nowhere near Maryland.
Oh, is that where it took place?
Yeah, in Burkittsville, Maryland.
That's right.
And so it's kind of interesting, diving from, say, the supernatural witch element in Blair Witch Project to kind of the alien element of it. and which aliens in horror movies have always been kind of tricky because first of all you still have to have kind of a sci-fi element because you have aliens and stuff like that. But the thing with aliens is it gives you a lot of freedom because with aliens can be anywhere from super scary to super friendly. They can be tall, short, big, small. They can all kinds of stuff. There's hundreds, thousands of alien movies out there kind of thing. But it's nice because with the aliens, they can be anything you want them to be.
Yeah, it's definitely a high level of creativity and letting your designers, your monster designers just go hog wild and just come up with whatever they can think of. And they came up with a decent one. This little bugger in this movie, and I keep calling him a little bugger, like a little shit, because he actually is not that big.
Nobody's but terrifying.
But it's fucking terrifying, man. This little shit is nasty. Okay, and the fucker's got psychic powers. So
it's like you fucking know it's there, but you can't fucking see him, and you know you're gonna fucking die, and you're like, come on.
That whole sequence when they were, and it was so sweet, and I caught this the first time I watched it. They had the whole sequence where all of a sudden, they had the alien, they had the alien all trussed up, and all of a sudden it's gone. And the reveal of that was brilliant because the main characters are in a conversation, and the camera just kind of does this pan. We're in the middle of this conversation, and then you look back into the garage where the alien was trussed up, and all of a sudden it's not there. And it was like, and they don't even know yet. And it was like, oh fuck, and you know how vicious this fucking thing is. And then they kind of replicate it. It was so brilliant. And it was so brilliant. They kind of replicate that alien scene when they're crawling around this dark garage with flashlights and their guns, trying to see where this fucker has gone. And just so well done. I think what was it? Sanchez said that the film originally was going to be like a comic homage to like the works of Sam Raimi and Troma and that kind of thing. But I never got the comic side of it because it's a pretty violent film, and I could see where he took his tropes from that, but this was well polished. This is not like Troma material.
Yeah, if he was going for a comedy, he missed that by a long shot.
I think maybe one of the situations where they were in there, and it just kind of things grow organically, and especially films especially when you're in the moment, and you start saying things, you're like, oh, this will work so much better. This will work so much better, and you start dropping your intended takes because your actors made a different choice, or they made a better choice than you anticipated, or you caught the lighting hit a certain way and changed the feel of the scene, or maybe your cinematographer or your director of photography made a recommendation of this. You're like, oh damn, yeah, and then slowly but surely you wind up with a movie that's along the same lines, but wildly different than what you envisioned.
So what you're saying is it's just a lot of like, I have an idea, get into it a little bit. I have a better idea.
Pretty much. I mean, I did like that this one, it was almost like Stand By Me meets Alien.
Okay.
Or I would say Aliens, because there's a bit more fireplay and a bit more action in that. So I would say this is like Stand By Me, what was it? Yeah, Stand By Me meets Aliens. Because the one thing I really dug about the movie was the camaraderie between the friends, between the redneck dudes. These are not they're not stupid, dumb by any stretch of the imagination, but they're hillbillies. Okay, these aren't super educated guys. They only know what they've experienced.
They're smart.
It's not like they're running around saying really. Yeah, they are. That's a good example. You just reminded me. They're like Tucker, they're like Tucker and Dale.
Okay, so I gotta be honest with you.
So they're not. They're. That movie's so brilliant. That movie. Alan Tudyk just fucking kills me. My face is so hot.
No, I'm telling you that I watched that the other day for the first time.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, no, I'd never seen that before. And my girlfriend was like scrolling through movies, and she's like, "Oh, I've already seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil." I was like, "Oh, I haven't." She's like, "The fuck?" And then hit play.
The fuck?
And then hit play.
Fix that right
like,
now.
That's it. Okay. So then I thought that was fantastic. Sorry, I just totally cut off of that, but like that was a fantastic film, and I didn't realize what like the movie was even about because I thought I had watched this movie, but it was a totally different movie. And so I started watching, I'm like, this is freaking hilarious. I was like, they think that, but then what's just really going on is, oh my god, that was great,
dude. Tyler Labine in that first star when he walks up to him with the fucking scythe, and he's like, "Y'all going camping?"
Oh, it's great.
He was, well, officer, we have had us a doozy of a day. Oh, fuck! That movie is so fucking good, and I really hope they've been playing on the fence as to whether or not we're going to get a sequel, a Tucker and Dale vs. Evil 2, and I really hope
so too. Do like a series.
Yeah, that would be kind of, that would be cool.
Really could.
And then that's where I think, going back to Alter, that's where I think that Eduardo Sanchez nailed it. Is he is really good at writing characters, and the characters in his films, especially after this, he's just really good at writing friendship. Aww. I think is what it is. Just people that connect with each other, and you really believe them, because these are not scientists, they're not smart, and they're not really super smart, educated guys. These are fucking hillbillies. They spend most of their time drinking in a field, looking for aliens. Okay, and they spend their time in and out of jail. They're the town idiots, but I like that there's that preconception. They know what they know only because they've experienced it, and I love that kind of, I loved seeing that kind of camaraderie, and all the actors nailed it, and of course the alien is fucking badass in it. It's pretty unique looking in that respect, and it's just a really enjoyable watch. I highly recommend. I mean, the little homages to other alien films, to other like little horror films like that. He really Eugene Sanchez. He really knocked it out of the park. I enjoyed this one.
Yeah, it was good.
I did. And I did too, because it's hard to write characters or say not knowledgeable, but it's easy for them to come across as like, they're like stupid or anything like that. But it's like, this is just where they're from. This is all that they have been exposed to, and they're not stupid. They have their small world that they live in. And I think he conveys that off really well. And then all of a sudden you throw, a motherfucking alien at them.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? You just popped in my head. Thank you, Eugene. I compare it to this. We've all seen Infinity War, right? So we've all seen Infinity War, and the one thing that got me, and I was never able to really suspend my disbelief on this, is that they've got Thanos, they've got him locked down, they're about to get the glove off. Spider-Man and Iron Man are pulling the glove off, they've almost got it, and fucking Quill, Star-Lord, is sitting there talking to him. Okay? Now I get he wants to gloat, that's the kind of way, he's braggadocious, that's the way Star-Lord is, he plays that up. But then right in the middle of all of this, finding out that Gamora is about to has died, and then he's got Tony Stark screaming in his face, "Don't do it, don't engage, we've almost got this thing off." Okay? And in that moment, Quill then starts punching him in the face. Now, Marvel can justify it all they want. Quill's an emotional guy, he just lost Gamora, he's pissed off, and he punches him in the face. But then it spoils everything. Now, I never could get my disbelief around that scene. Is like, Quill may be rash, he may be braggadocious, he may be cocky, like this, but he's not that stupid. He actually is quite smart. Okay? As evidenced by certain scenes in like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So I never could wrap my head around that. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because in Altered, there is a specific scene where they've got the situation, and the situation is devolving out of control, and you obviously don't want to make it worse, but one of the redneck dudes, he does. Okay, he does the exact same thing where he acts emotional, and it was like, why the fuck would you be doing this? But Sanchez pulls this off, and I completely understand and can believe why these guys would do these irrational things in this moment. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, and yeah, brilliant characterization there. So if Eduardo Sanchez can make me believe that shit, in this little indie alien horror movie, but fucking Marvel can't make me believe that shit. I think that goes to say something for this movie.
Exactly.
And I think that brings us to our audience. So we hope you get to check out the movie, but do you have another favorite evil alien? So there are a lot of evil aliens out there. There's a lot of really, really nice aliens out there too, but there's a lot of really evil ones. Really bad motherfuckers. And we want to know, what's your favorite evil alien? Is it the H.R. Geiger alien, the Ridley Scott one? Is it the one from Alien 3? Is it fucking the slimy little bastard from Altered? Is it the ones from Fire in the Sky?
Gremlins count?
Evil aliens. We want to...
Do gremlins count?
Gremlins are not aliens. Gremlins are technically fairy
That's
folk.
fair. My favorite evil alien is Paul.
That dude was not evil. That dude was awesome.
I'm thinking Mars Attacks.
Mars Attacks. Ack. And so, what's your favorite evil alien? Let us know in the comments.
All right, so the next movie we have coming up is one of the most iconic movies that have ever been released in the horror genre, to the point where it actually revolutionized the slasher genre. Of course, directed by, the great one himself, Wes Craven, right? Written by Kevin Williamson, starring David Arquette, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Rose McGowan, Jamie Kennedy, Drew Barrymore. And, of course, we're talking about Scream, which came out December 20th, 1996.
Fuck. This movie's... I feel so old. I was 16 when this thing came out.
I didn't even have to hit you on that one.
I know. I fucking love this movie, and it's aged so well. And it's still a blast to go back and watch. It's still relevant. And it was fucking... God, over 20 years ago. It's like 23 years ago.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Almost, God.
I think I was in first grade.
Oh, yeah,
maybe kindergarten.
Oh, fuck.
So, just in case, for those of you who haven't seen it before, it's
Go
where
fucking
the fuck
watch
are you?
it.
Where? If you cannot be a horror fan if you have not seen Scream before. For those listening right now,
Wow,
you basically
called out on
you have Sidney Prescott, and her and her friends are being tortured and killed off by the infamous Ghostface, right? And they're trying to figure out who Ghostface is and what his motive is and all this other kind of stuff. And of course, these movies that have a great twist at the end. But this was the movie that came out, like, the slasher genre almost kind of started becoming stale with all of the, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation, and all this other kind of, like, bad movies that came out. And then this is like we're going to show you what you can do with a horror movie.
Oh, God, I think they were up to, like, what was this, like, Halloween 4, Halloween 5?
Oh, God, was it?
Somewhere in there, like, we had all these Halloweens, we had all these Texas Chainsaw Massacres, we have a whole bunch of Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Streets, and it was this, I would say slasher films were in the decline, big time.
They really were, because, like, the quality of them was getting worse and worse. I think this was, like, right before, like The Curse of Michael Myers. And, like I said already, like the Matthew McConaughey Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, I mean, you had all these bad films. These films weren't even doing well in theaters anymore.
No, because they had worn themselves out, and they jumped on top of this thing, and they're like, we're going to ride it out. And then Wes Craven was like, wait for it. Get it. I mean, you're right in the middle of the...
And Kevin Williamson. First, man, Dawson's Creek. This is my claim to fame. Fuck that, Scream. This is what I want to do to all the characters that are in Dawson's Creek.
If I wouldn't have sold myself to the devil, I would have done this to these people. Because seriously, they came in and they killed it. Like, pun intended. But, like you said, they were running out on these scary movies, and they had taken this, like... see what I did there? Scary movie. You got these scary movies, these slasher horror movies, and it's like, okay, cool. How long are these kids gonna run away from a slow walking dude with a knife? And then Camp Crystal Lake. Like, how many times are they going to keep going back to that fucking lake? Because, and then they follow him into the city. Yeah, that's just, it's at a mess point, and then you get Scream with this normal group of teenagers that you could identify with immediately, because that's like, in the 90s they come out with all these movies that had to do with like, what was, when a Stranger Calls, did that come out? No, that was before that. But whatever, long story short, teenagers in a house relate with them, and then all of a sudden they start getting killed by like this totally normal dude. And that's like, that's scarier, I think, than being like, oh my god, there's a killer on the loose. But like, the killer's in the house, we don't know who it is. It could be your best friend. They keep disappearing, but then they keep showing up when everybody's split up. And then you're like, fuck, that could really happen. Like, you could just be sitting at your house and somebody can knock on the door and you can open it and you get stabbed. It was like, now I'm scared again. Now this is something I can be afraid of. And then they took that and ran for, what, 5 movies?
I think you have 4.
4 movies?
Four.
I don't. They were
4,
all
but
good.
I think they're planning a 4
And then
films.
a TV series.
3 seasons of a TV show. 3 seasons of a TV show, and I think we're about to get a fifth one come 2020.
But yeah, I mean, it's.
But this was the big. It was meta horror. That was the big thing. And you were talking about the character. You talking about characters and everything like that. Is that I think this is one of the first real horror films that it did not have disposable protagonists.
No, they had to. Yeah, that's why like Sidney comes back in the next one. Like,
yeah, and see, all the characters are lovable, and the thing that sets up Scream and why it becomes so great is right off the bat, the first 10 minutes with Drew Barrymore. That sets the tone for the entire movie, because when in the trailer, you have to keep in mind, all these people at the time were no names. Nev Campbell's barely on a TV show. Courtney Cox.
Party of Five, yeah.
Courtney Cox, Friends was still kind of coming up on the upswing because, I think it's on like second season or something like that. And so Drew Barrymore was the only established name attached to the series. She was marketed in the trailer. Her picture's on the poster. Like, this is Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore.
Her picture is front of the poster.
Like the main. Like, how this is it.
It had kind of like the tunnel images of everybody on the poster, and she was the first and the largest. She was
the big one. Like, this is Drew Barrymore, and they killed her off in the first 10 minutes. Ballsy.
That's a very Joss Whedon thing to do.
Yes, get Drew Barrymore. Here's her lines, and then they go to film, and they're like, "Hey, just so you know, we changed the script a little bit." She's gonna be like, "What? Oh, okay, whatever. That's fine. What do I do?" "Well, you die now. Bye."
Oh, fucking Drew. She sold that
dude.
movie. That without that opening 10 minutes. That Drew pulled the Janet Leigh of the 90s.
That's good.
Okay, not since Psycho had there been a moment like that sold a scene like that.
It really did, and it sets the tone in the movie that no one is safe.
What's your favorite scary movie?
You have these other characters, and it's like, well, okay, you just killed off the biggest name you have. That means no one's safe in this entire film. So you end up watching the entire film on edge. Who else are they going to kill off?
Yep. And then red herrings all over the place, and
kind of thing.
Everybody having their moments when it's like, oh, could I have been mistaken? So like that. Kevin Williamson brilliantly wrote it and brilliantly balanced it. Off of how he just basically created the atmosphere, and everybody had their moment when it could have been them, could have been wrong, like that. Red herrings all over the place. A classic. Just I think he took a lot of inspiration from early from pulp detective novels, from early noir films and hard-boiled detective novels. Big whodunit. It was a big whodunit with a slasher, which I thought. It just rejuvenated the entire genre, and gave us it rejuvenated the slasher field, and gave us a new genre of meta horror.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because the movie was self-aware. It knew exactly what it was doing the entire time, and it even pointed out to you with Jamie Kennedy's character saying, "This is how horror movies work."
I fucking love Jamie Kennedy, that movie. Goes outside.
Still the best character he's played.
I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad that he had that he still got a little bit of it, because he made it work in Scream 2, that was good, and I'm glad because the recent movie we talked about it earlier in an earlier episode where I mentioned the movie Trick.
Yeah.
And he has a relatively smaller role. He's not a lead. It's kind of like, you're watching the credits. It's and Jamie Kennedy. So he's got a bit of a smaller role, but he played it well. It was not goofy. It was not supposed to be funny. It's not him going like, "Oh, I'm Jamie Kennedy." It's like, "Oh, hey, remember I was in Scream." It doesn't play off anything like that. He plays a character that is kind of there. It's just a part of the background, and he does it well. So I'm glad to see he was able to land on his feet.
Oh, absolutely. That whole... Okay, so I have a question too, or I guess look at it this way, like, when I watch this movie now, I think, like, I engage into the movie because, like, I know what's gonna happen, but still, it's, like, the way that they, like, go back and forth between, like, oh, there's a twist there, you think you kind of know what's going on, but then it's, like, it's gonna jerk left, it's gonna jerk right, it's gonna keep going back and forth, and you're gonna just keep guessing wrong, and, like, oh, it's definitely this person, and then they get, like, they're stabbed in the gut, and then it's like, oh no, it's this guy, and then it's like, wow, they died too, like, holy crap, who is it? And it's like, it goes back and forth. It's trying, like Eugene said it, the movie knows exactly what it's doing. Something's going on, but you cannot figure it out.
It's so brilliant. I saw a video on YouTube recently where people went back and they YouTube content creators went back and they watched the original Scream, and there were some scenes in that movie that didn't make any sense, and it's kind of like, wow, okay, so the girls, like when the girls go out to buy beer and they're in the little convenience store, and so they're talking and talking, talking about girl stuff, and as they pass by, all of a sudden you see the reflection of Ghostface in like the cooler glass, and then he disappears again. It was like, wait, but at the end of the movie, when you find out who Ghostface actually is, you're like, wait a minute, that's not fucking possible. How the hell was he running around in costume in the convenience store when who we know are the killers were somewhere else? And then it lends credence to they were able to basically say that, or tie in that there were events that took place in Scream 2 and events that took place in Scream 3. It was Scream 3 when the whole architect of the whole thing, Sidney's half-brother, okay? Mm-hmm. Sidney's half-brother was actually running around in Woodbury, in costume, like in the costume, helping the other killers, helping the other killers with the plan, okay? In order to create like this, and just the way it's come together and the fandom on that, and I think what drives people, what made this movie so incredible was Wes Craven. It was Wes Craven's attention to this. Wes Craven has always had, the way I've seen it with movies like Last House on the Left and The Hills Have Eyes, Nightmare on Elm Street, with the Scream series, is that not only is Wes, he really digs on the horror of sleeping, the vulnerability of sleeping as a trope in his horror films, but his characters always seem to be in situations of circumstance. And I've always taken it that we identify with Wes Craven's horror films because these are situations that people are not getting themselves into by choice. Their actions did not result in a killer coming to kill them. Is that these are typically the actions of other people that have created a kind of perfect storm that all of a sudden our protagonists find themselves engulfed by. And it's such an allegory for real life in that respect. And I think that's why people attach to it. Nightmare on Elm Street, it wasn't the kids, it wasn't the teenagers who fucked up Freddy, it was their parents. But now he's targeting them by circumstance, as his revenge. In The Hills Have Eyes, they were just on vacation. And by circumstance, by the actions of other people, they wind up, being chased by evil, cannibalistic mutants that want to rape them.
Hate it when that happens.
Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
Last House on the Left. The girls were attacked. They were just there, wrong place, wrong time. And and I think we identify with that horror very well because it's being such an allegory for real life that bad shit happens to good people. Unexpected shit comes along the way, and in these particular instances, that unexpected shit happens to be a dude in a fucking Ghostface costume trying to stab the shit out of you.
Oh, that's a goofy looking mask. Ouch!
Ah! Yeah, because if you look at, even the opening of the movie, Drew Barrymore's just home.
just chilling.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, she's
What's your
her parents are
favorite
out of
scary
town
movie?
or gone, whatever, to the store or something like that, and she's just home. There's everybody in that movie is just there, kind of thing. There was no ritual or no like, oh, we're gonna do a scientific experiment and awaken something. No, they're just there.
Oh, the parallel there, the strangers.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, the scariest part of that movie when she asks why are you doing this to us, and then the dollface was like, because you were home.
Yeah, that scene where they take their mask off when it's like,
Yeah.
you know, we didn't see your face, you won't tell anybody, and they take their faces off, and you know at that moment they've already planned what they're going to do.
It doesn't matter. You're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that always got me. It's just like, yeah, why us? Why did you choose us? It's because you were home.
And it's
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
The whole
It's
them
just
being
like,
able to talk to them because they're just a person, like,
and they're removing the mask
Right.
makes them human. That this is not some Cthulhu monster or some demon out of the depths. It's just a human being. Humans on that part of that. Yeah, that's fucking scary. You don't need to be supernatural. Don't need to have fucking dream powers and shit. Just people on people, and that really. I mean, Wes Craven had a knack for it. I think he knew the edges of what really scares us in real life, and just you just throw in a killer, but of course there are people out there who kill and wear masks. So I think he really, really nailed it. So I've loved that aspect of his horror for a long time, because there's a ring of truth to it.
It really is, because it can happen. If you can think it, it can happen. That's it. Just a person. We don't a lot of times don't even know what drove them, like in The Strangers. A lot of times we don't even know what drove them to be like that, because there's no background story in that movie. But yeah, the fact that it could be anybody. That's it. Just a person.
Yeah.
Yep.
If anybody's wondering,
so-
it's definitely Jared.
Yeah, definitely. So what we would like to know.
Don't be putting all my business up in the street.
Yeah, keep that on the down low.
Slash him. Stab.
I'm working towards something larger
What
here.
was the?
I'll unveil it to the world.
rap and
I
scary
will unveil
movie?
this. I will unveil my brilliance to the world when the world is
All right,
ready
Papa
for it.
John.
So let us know, audience, in the comment section below, what is your favorite non-supernatural killer? Just your favorite run-of-the-mill person who goes on a killing spree kind of thing. Is it somebody like Ghostface? Is it somebody like The Strangers? Or a whole long list of others out there? So let us know.
You know what that question?
Oh, like
You
you're
know what that
next.
question
Oh yeah,
reminded me
you're
of?
next.
Huh?
Oh, that question reminds me of the movie Fargo. Have you ever seen the movie Fargo?
I've seen Fargo.
Yes, we've seen the movie.
Yeah.
I've seen Fargo.
Non-supernatural killer. It just reminded me of the dude running around accidentally having to kill people. Like he's a non-supernatural killer. I mean, not on purpose. He doesn't want to be. Is that your partner in the wood chipper? Oh, so I'm guessing that's your partner.
fucking
in the
Pete.
wood chipper?
Fucking Peter Stormare.
Anyways,
Oh, he's so brilliant.
let's keep it to horror. And this week, December 21st, 2016, a very scary movie came out. The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Pretty unheard of movie by a lot of the people that I know, for sure. I've seen it, but not a lot of people that I know have.
It was scary.
It was
Very, very.
It was
unnerving.
very unnerving, and you've got a cast that I want to say there was a name in the cast that I can never remember, but Emily Hirsch in this movie is great. You got Brian Cox in this movie.
I think his name is Emil
Emil Hirsch.
Hirsch.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I thought you said Emma.
Sorry, I'm reading fast. Whatever. Emil Hirsch.
Hit the playback.
Shut up.
Let me get the transcript from that.
No, we will correct that.
No, you're right. It's Emil
Hirsch might listen. Emil Hirsch might listen to this. That motherfucker called me Emily.
Good, and then he'll message us and be like, "Yo," and they'll be like, "Gotcha, bitch."
You've fallen into our trap.
No, he was in.
You activated my trap card.
He was in The Girl Next Door.
Yeah, he was in The Girl Next Door.
But Into the Wild was like
Alpha Dog,
a bigger movie. Alpha Dog.
Alpha Dog was one of his best.
Mm-hmm. God, I don't know. Shit. Don't kill me, Emil.
I mean, fucking Brian
Dude,
Cox.
Brian Cox. He played Tommy in this. Dude, have you seen Super Troopers 2? I'm sorry. I was like, don't go there. It's nothing anywhere near horror, but yeah. Whatever.
Except we usually use blanks. If one more person says shenanigans, I'm going to pistol whip them.
What's that favorite restaurant that has all the shit on the walls? You mean shenanigans?
Shenanigans?
God. Anyways, so Brian Cox is in this movie, but the movie, if you haven't seen it, obviously, is about the corpse of a woman that they find in, like, I guess you could call an unusual circumstance, murder situation. Okay. So the weird thing about, because she's like, I don't know, how do I explain this without giving away most of the movie? Because it's just,
it is kind of tough. I think along lines, let me see. The body of a girl is discovered at the scene of a multiple homicide, and her body is transported to the local coroner.
Where's a whole movie
played by Emil Hirsch and Brian Cox. Mm-hmm. And in an attempt to discover her identity, things begin to unravel.
They go through the movie, and like it's a really long story, and they take like bits and pieces as they take bits and pieces. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
that was well put. Well put.
Yeah. Because it's like the more they examine her body, the more weird it gets in terms of like no scratching or scarring on the outside, but her organs are scarred.
Yeah.
And lungs black, and it's these. You have all these things that don't make sense when they're examining her.
Yeah,
and then
it's
there's
a very
twist.
Like I said. It's a very, very unsettling film, and it's one of the better endings that I've seen. But I got to give some props because that actress in that one,
just being able to sit there.
Olwen Kelly is her name, and virtually number one. Just, she's playing a dead body, and she's, playing a dead body that's going into autopsy. So she's naked, she's on the slab, and she's dead for the pretty much the entirety of the film. And looking at it from an actor standpoint, having been a part of many film productions, having done stage productions, that's not easy. That shit is not easy at all. And I got to give some props to Miss Kelly because portraying, anybody who's been on a film set. I've been on a film set. I know that Eugene has done work. Alex done work. The people that work on, that work behind us in, the editing suite, and the people that work, do a lot of the kind of background stuff for us. So we all have film experience, and film hours you can be on set for anywhere from 10 to 16 hours a day. Okay. Sometimes they are long. Sometimes they are grueling. And sometimes you're forced to be in a position or stay where you are while they're resetting lights, resetting sound, resetting, setting the set back up like that. Maybe things got moved, they got to move them back. And then sometimes things happen with the script, things happen with the camera, and it's a bitch, and it can be long, it can be grueling, it can be emotionally draining. But for this young girl to play a dead body for the entirety of the fucking movie, unmoving, unflinching, unblinking, okay? While these two actors basically prodding and poking all around her, with no reaction whatsoever, was such a brilliant performance. And she, I say performance, she has no fucking line. She doesn't move one muscle.
But that is the performance.
Okay. But that's the art of that, and the training that it took to get her there. From what I read in an interview, that it was months of yoga and meditation and focus techniques, okay, to get her to the point where she could literally lie there motionless and be a dead body. Because this is not, like, hey, you police procedural. Oh, here's a body, uncover, there's the face, cover it back up, put this, put it back in the box, and then you have a dead body. No, this was, this girl from all angles, in her face, close-ups, wide shots, and like that. And I can't even imagine the strain it put on. It reminds me of Jim Carrey in The Grinch, when he had to go through torture resistance techniques with a CIA agent in order to deal with the makeup process of becoming the Grinch. Just putting your mind in that place to do that for such an extended period of time, just brutal.
Yeah, because
hats off to her.
She's on a gurney, so it's not comfortable at all. It's a metal slab, pretty much. And them interacting with her in ways like opening her eye, kind of thing. And for our listeners out there, try that. Try to lay down and be perfectly still. It's not like, oh, you're pretending to be asleep, so you're laying down in bed. If you happen to actually go sleep on set, oh, no big deal, kind of thing. But lay there, and then, okay, now the actor's going to go and open your eye. Like, physically lift her eyelid up and open it, and you can have no reaction at all whatsoever, and they're going to close back your eye.
Don't move, you're
and
fighting.
So they're moving, they're prodding, they're doing all this other kind of stuff, and she has to have no reaction the entire time. That's incredible.
I couldn't do it. You're getting poked, and
Yeah, I just I didn't see that coming.
I got a problem, no. That's gotta be so uncomfortable. Like you said, you're on that set all day long. That's just gotta be terrible. That's like a horror movie in itself. And it's like, if you just lay there, we'll pay you a whole bunch of money. You're like, I need it so bad. Don't move.
I have rent to pay.
Seriously.
I was young enough to get the money.
I should have done more.
But I'm trying to.
No, just kidding.
But trying to imagine, this girl. I hope to see a lot of really, really good stuff. She's a super talented actress, and as we see, dedicated to her craft and dedicated to the parts that she plays. So that takes art. A lot to do that. So that is art. The art of playing a dead body. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing that this movie does really well is that it starts setting up these really creepy, scary moments that a lot of times could be just normal kind of thing. It's like, oh, I can go and I can walk down this alley kind of thing, blah, 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 blah. But then how come all of a sudden you show an alley a certain way and now it's scary? The same alley, the same place, all of a sudden, but now this time it's scary. And that's what this movie does very well. It can start taking these ordinary locations and starts making them scary, where it's the cinematography, the editing of it, and you'll start, when you start actually noticing a lot of these in horror films, because all of a sudden the angle will change, like what we call like a Dutch angle, where instead of the camera being even with the ground kind of thing, where it's like nice, even, everything, now the camera's tilted. So you have this offsetting angle kind of thing. Another thing you'll see is kind of like with the editing, to make it more tense, the cuts will start getting slower. And you'll see this in a lot of horror movies where, regularly you'll have them walking down the hallway and it'll just be a nice rhythmic cut to it. Now they're walking down the hallway and it's holding it longer. Now, what happens is, it's like, wait, how come we're not cutting yet? How come we're still on this angle? And it actually makes people feel tense. The longer you hold something, the more tense that it feels, because we're naturally trained to get a sort of cut rhythm to it.
Yeah, and especially, when you're playing in a room where it's just that one room, you're in the coroner's office, or the coroner's, office? I guess that'd be an office.
Yeah.
You're sitting in this one room the whole time, and you got to make it scary. And like you said, the camera angles alone, and a lot of the ways that they'll cut onto like Brian Cox, and they'll show him in different ways while they're talking, and then they're cutting all this other stuff. But yeah, it's like they do use. I when you say it, I notice it now. They use a lot of these weird angles because you have to when you're playing in one room. Like Jared's favorite movie, Cujo, you played in one car.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're gonna be right there.
It's definitely it's a science making the most out of what you've got, and little techniques like that, Dutch angles and just lighting effects that can set the tone or set an emotional sequence and like that, and then playing on a scene or playing on a shot, drawing it out a little bit. I think I consider like Rob Zombie. I consider Rob Zombie a decent filmmaker. I enjoyed Halloween. I really like I really love Devil's Rejects. But even in House of Thousand Corpses, his first film, he showed his brilliance there, or his good instincts, because the movie was insane. It was crazy. It was super. There were a lot of cuts, a lot of editing. But then there's this one scene when Otis has the gun on the cop, and the cop's on his knees.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, and he does that crane shot that just pulls away, and just holds that. And that was murder. Watching that scene, it was just like, what the fuck? And you're just getting closer and closer to the edge of your seat, the edge of your seat. You know what's going to happen, but is what you think is going to happen? And it was just nail biting tension. And from a first time director, you had to pull that off. So,
it can be. It's agonizing, and the true masters of horror, the directors out there, they know what makes the audience tense. They know they get into your head, and they'll make you start feeling like something's going to happen before the characters do on the screen, kind of thing. And because you're just like, wait, there's something. There's something. Okay, there's something not right. I don't know what's going on, but it's not right. And truly, some of the best directors will then take how the normal pacing of horror movies are, and then throw it back at your face, like the jump scare in Insidious, where they're sitting there in a bright, because most horror movies it's at night and run down, but during the daytime in horror movies it's always safe. That's where the rest of the story progresses, during the daytime, whatever. But then you get that jump scare when you think it's safe.
Yeah.
So they're playing right against what you normally think would be scary, kind of setting up the scene. So the directors out there who are truly great, they've mastered this. The art is scaring yourself. Like they mastered. They know what makes it scary, what not makes it scary, and then they'll flip it right back on.
Ooh.
Now, Andre Overdahl, such a brilliant director. He captured this so well. Of course, he's gone on. He recently came out with a Scary Story. He directed the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark film, which I watched and thought was, it's for a younger audience, but definitely a super creepy fucking movie, and I really enjoyed it. Took me all the way back to when I was reading the books as a kid. But well done there, and I can't wait for his adaptation of The Long Walk to come out.
I don't want to give the ending of this one away.
He's directing the adaptation from the Stephen King
really
book.
good. You should check it out.
So I'm looking forward to that big time.
They really touch on a trope that is kind of.
But yeah, definitely, it's
right
definitely
now.
I think it's definitely an art
horror because
creating the situations
when you're
where
in a
the
hospital,
audience,
you feel like you're supposed
where
to
the
be
audience
safe.
recognizes,
is
it your imagination playing on you? Is it really something in the dark? Something definitely creeping out, creepy
I've been
going
to the hospital
on.
a whole bunch,
But you're scaring yourself as much.
So I've spent nights in the hospital, and it's totally different.
Whatever's out there is scaring
it's
you.
It's creepy at night. During the day, there's people in and out, everybody walking around. But hospitals are like dead at night, and so when you see like a hospital in a movie, and you see that it's like completely empty. That's how hospitals are at night. Like, there might be a couple of nurses bouncing around, but they're doing other stuff like paperwork and stuff while everyone's asleep. So it's quiet. And so that's something I'd like to see. And this is a new movie, so, maybe they can bounce off of this and kind of take medical horror in another direction, or in a direction. That's something I'd like to know from the audience. Could you do more medical horror? What is it about the medicine field that scares you guys the most? just something you're so vulnerable and you're giving up your health and life and trusting these people to save your life or make you better, and it could go one way, it could go a very different way.
Oh yeah, because I know a lot of people.
Definitely.
You're naturally uneasy in hospitals, because I know a lot of people don't like hospitals, and to see maybe a few more films kind of play off that. Doctors or nurses, stuff like that.
The ultimate, aside from being asleep, the ultimate vulnerability. Well,
happy birthday.
We have got some really cool stuff here. This month we had a ton of awesome birthdays that we had to choose from. I was going through the list of what we had, and there were just so many names. But out of all these distinguished individuals who have all contributed in some way to the horror genre, we have to remember we are Week in Horror. So we focus on the real horror icons. And so while coming down to these choices was kind of tough, we were able to narrow this down. So we've got 3 very special birthdays that I want to pay that I think we pulled out of the pack, and I think deserve mention. Maybe on the next year around we'll mention the other people come around, but we're going to kick this off.
When?
The happy birthday to our favorite zombie killer, Mila Jovovich.
Yeah, she was
born December 17th, 1975. The
also
perfect being, Alice,
fantastic,
and a slew of other characters that she's played along the way. But we all know her as Alice from the Resident Evil series. But Mila Jovovich's
my first,
birthday is today.
Resident
Happy
Evil.
Birthday, Mila!
Happy birthday, Mila!
Horror.
So I first caught her in obviously Return to Blue Lagoon. So, and thought she was, that was one of her first films. I think she was like 14. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then I think after that I saw her in Dazed and Confused.
That's where I first saw her.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is one of my personal favorite movies. Heard of it.
One thing I can tell you, and she's done, she was, I think she was in that Three Musketeers movie. She was recently in the new Hellboy. And of course, 6 Resident Evil films under her belt. And of course, she's done some work, some stuff here and there. But a really underrated film of hers, $1 Million Hotel.
$1 Million Hotel.
So,
I need to check that out.
Yes, surprising little film. Has Jeremy Davies, has Mel Gibson, has Mila in it, and a slew of other little character actors, Bud Cort and Peter Stormare. Just a slew of little character actors just across the board, but a very, very cool,
happy birthday.
Nice little noir style film,
right.
Which about the kind of like
next day in the
denizens of an old
December
crumbling
18th,
hotel,
1946,
who all still kind of live there and kind of all know each other, and it's a really, really effective little film. One of her most underrated roles.
I see what you did there because of Jurassic Park.
Definitely, if you get a chance to check that out, $1 Million.
Man, his stuff was out of this world.
With the soundtrack was by U2.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So,
watching any of his movies
happy
is
birthday
an adventure.
to Mila Jovovich. Happy birthday,
Mila.
All right. Also responsible for fantastic movies like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, speaking of aliens.
The man, the legend himself.
And another terrible...
Stomping in here like a fucking brachiosaurus.
I mean, great movie. Shitty situation. Because we were talking about Nazis earlier. So my point being is he's touched on just a little bit of everything. Any big movie you could, if you listed 5 big movies, he probably was involved.
Oh,
I think I would agree with that.
What?
That was,
it's hard to nutshell probably the most prolific director of our age.
Yeah.
I mean, we could say, okay, like so many prolific films. Obviously, Jurassic Park is a huge favorite of mine, but I'm actually going to throw down the one movie I go back to
that was a creepy
fucking
movie.
Love every time was one of his earliest films, and that was Duel.
I love Duel.
Okay.
Oh, I saw that when I was a kid, a long time ago. And the thing is, it's like it's such a simple premise. It's just a guy on the highway and he's being stalked by this trucker kind of thing. But he made it so creepy because you never saw the truck driver.
Never saw. You only saw his.
That was it. He would have his hand stick out the window and just wave him by. That was it.
It's a little bit of trivia like this. So in Duel, at the very, very end, when he basically plays chicken with the truck, and then he manages to get out of the way, and the truck goes careening off the cliff, okay, and the truck just smashes down like that, but like that sound effect that was utilized in that one scene,
cool.
Spielberg reused that at the end of Jaws. Look at him using his tanker.
Whoa!
So when Roy Scheider has the fucking tank in Jaws' mouth, and he's like, smile, you son of a bitch, and he puts it, and the thing explodes. As the shark is sinking under the water, as it's like, oh, the shark is dead and it's sinking, Spielberg took that sound, and then he ran it, like he played it, underwater. And then re-recorded it, and then saturated it, and used that for the scene.
Wow. And the thing is like, I love the sound he used when the truck was going over, because it sounded more like a creature than it did like, just a car accident or something like that.
Like the truck was as much a character as that was Steve McQueen, right?
I have to check that out. I'm not sure.
It got
because I believe so. But I mean, it just incredible movie.
Oh no, that's my bad. No, there was Dennis.
Oh,
Weaver.
Dennis Weaver.
That's my bad. Yeah. I've obviously mixed it up with something like this. I can't believe it. I love the movie so much, and I totally spaced Dennis Weaver. I'm gonna get so much shit for that. So I am, like that. But I'm surprised to remember, because he was in fucking McCloud, and it was that's an old show from an old NBC police drama, and my mother fucking loved McCloud, and I thought the show was cool as shit. So, but I'm surprised I forgot that was Dennis Weaver. My bad. My apologies to the audience out there. I should have known. I will never forget again. I will not forget. But I mean, I love Duel. I love pretty much his entire filmography. E.T. I saw E.T. as a child, and I actually saw it when it came into theater, so I actually got to experience that. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Jaws. Schindler's List.
Even though he's executive producer of Poltergeist.
one of the worst kept secrets in all of Hollywood. So, in all the things that he's done, of course, I've always loved his support of veterans. Nice. And he was behind Band of Brothers. Saving Private Ryan?
He directed Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, just his work in that field, and just the things that he's done.
It's incredible. He actually has it's a new series, because he has the Band of Brothers and then the Pacific, and then he has a new series that I think is coming out next year about World War II. It's the World War II bombers that are coming out. So he's going to complete a trilogy in miniseries.
I love it, man. It's amazing. It's prolific, director. We strive to be like that. As filmmakers, we kind of strive. Obviously, I've taken things I've learned from Steven Spielberg films in my work. I can't think of a director that I don't know that has not at some point
Thank you very much.
kind of lifted from Steven Spielberg's techniques. Yeah.
So, anyways, before you get in trouble,
but one thing I can say I have in common with Steven Spielberg.
Happy Steven birthday, Spielberg.
Is that I am just like him. We are both Eagle Scouts.
Oh, I'm an Eagle Scout too.
Wow! Yeah, there we go. Sweet. Weren't you in Scouts, Alex? No, I was too busy getting laid. But happy birthday, Steven Spielberg.
Happy birthday, Steve. Happy birthday, Spielberg. And then finally, for our birthdays that we have today, we have For a birthday say we have today, we have born December 18th, 1953, we have Jeff Kober, who he's one of those guys where the name doesn't necessarily jump off the page, but his filmography is just epic. He has been in so much stuff, starting off with the original Twilight Zone, right? And we start going into, he's a regular character on The Walking Dead. He's been a regular character on Sons of Anarchy, NCIS Los Angeles. He's also in The Hills of Ice 2, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a TV show.
Oh, yeah.
List of Star Trek credits, from Enterprise to Voyager, Poltergeist, The Legacy, the TV show. I mean, just incredible. And then let me restate, not the original Twilight Zone series, but the remake in 1985. So that way I don't get...
Oh, we also go... He was also in the original V, the series.
Yes, from also 1985.
Yes. So it's just the reason I love this guy is he's one of those character actors that you see him instantly, you've seen him before, and he's so epically talented. I've never seen him rehash a character. Like, it's like, oh, well, he's got his techniques. He's just using the same techniques over and over again. Jeff puts everything into making the small characters he plays or the small arcs he plays in. He brings everything he can to that character to make it unique, to make it effective, and to sell the story, to tell the story of, what's happening in that moment. And usually he only gets like an episode or maybe 2 episodes if he's lucky. In Buffy the Vampire Slayer, he played 2 different characters. He was, first he was a vampire, the vampire that was unleashed on Buffy during her birthday, when she didn't have her powers during her big, her 18th birthday test or some shit like that. Mm-hmm. He played that vampire, and then he later came back when Willow was going evil in season 6, and was the magic dealer, who was the drug dealer who was dealing her powerful magic to get her high. So
every time,
he does stuff like that, and just whenever he appears, it's completely different, and that's the mark of a super talented actor. And I'm glad he's found his...
And that's how he's able to get onto so many TV shows, is because they know he can do that. Because every character he does is different, and he can do, action shows, action adventure, horror shows, sci-fi shows, crime dramas, and they all work. They really do.
Yeah, when you can go from The Magnificent Seven to Buffy the Vampire Slayer to Charmed to Star Trek Voyager to NYPD Blue to ER, CSI Crime Scene Investigation. He was on Criminal Minds for an episode, and then jumped back over to Supernatural.
And then you got The Closer,
and Burn Notice, and just I guarantee you, there's not a TV show you have not seen that this
all right, guys, that's what we got for you this week. Thanks for listening.
And
as we
the list of movies
said earlier,
is
feedback, comments, questions,
in the parts
concerns, let us know.
Strongly
hit us up on our Facebook, facebook.com/weekinhorror.
Basic respect.
Like that page, subscribe. You can get
we love
your daily
dose
of horror
because
knowledge.
They never get the love that they deserve. But we want to recognize them for their content.
Check us out on Spotify, Google. We're on Apple Podcasts.
Absolutely.
Anywhere you listen.
So happy birthday, Jeff.
Find us there. We just want to thank you guys so much for checking us out, giving us a listen, your continued support. We love you guys. I'm Alex. Y'all have a good night.